Nobody's ever gonna take your place. Yeah, I think we should meet in the middle. I follow you cause you're the light of the day. I need you like you need me, it's so simple. It's so simple.
Welcome back to the Gen X Juggler podcast. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so excited to tell you that season 2, the long-awaited season 2 of the Gen X Juggler podcast, comes out next week on August 7th. I'm excited for you to meet all of the cool guests that are going to be joining me in season 2, and also I'm super excited that you'll get to actually see the guests that are joining me on season 2 because we're going to be on YouTube, full format. Every week, you'll get to see us live and in person, only it won't actually be live. They're pre-recorded. I'm sure you knew that. But every week, you'll be able to see myself and my guests in action and enjoy the Gen X Juggler podcast in a whole new way. So that is very exciting as well. There have been a lot of changes taking place this summer with the podcast and a lot of changes taking place in the Gen X Juggler world, right? Over the past 2 weeks. There is no way that I could let an opportunity for a podcast go by during this time and not talk about that. What in the world? Was anyone else just as shocked as I was to hear so many of our icons passed away in the last 2 weeks? Hulk Hogan, Malcolm Jamal Warner, and the great Ozzy Osbourne. Of course, every single one of those celebrities was a part of my growing up. We recognized them as our own. They were a part of our childhood experience, and they stayed around as we grew up and we got to see them do new and different things as well. The one that hit me hardest was definitely Ozzy. Ozzy Osbourne is so iconic and special because over the last 50 plus years, every single one of us has had the opportunity to experience an Ozzy era, right? Whether you were a fan of Black Sabbath back in the day or like me, you really came to know Ozzy Osbourne as the guy who sang Bark at the Moon and No More Tears and Close My Eyes Forever and all those really awesome songs that he brought us. Or if even in the early 2000s, if that was the first time that you experienced him when he sort of usurped Bill Cosby as America's dad, who would have thought that was going to happen? Oh my gosh, how all of us went around going, "Shed on!" We never imagined that we would get a glimpse into Ozzy Osbourne's life, his family life, his life as a dad. How cool that the Osbournes let us in to see that. And if you were a fan of the Osbournes back in the day, I've recently discovered the basement tapes on YouTube. If you search it up, you'll find the Osbournes watching episodes of the Osbournes and commenting on them. And that's pretty good entertainment, if you ask me. He was not a perfect man. Who among us is? But he was an example of resilience and of grit. He kept trying. He had goals and he kept trying. He loved his family fiercely. He loved performing and he loved his fans. I think that's where the connection comes from. Feeling appreciated by the artists that you love so much, that they see you and they know that the reason they are where they are is that we bought the albums and watched the videos and enjoyed what they had to offer. And he never forgot that. He always showed appreciation to the fans, even in his last concert just 2.5 weeks ago. He really gave so much of himself in that concert to the fans and of course received so much love in return. And then to hear 2 weeks later he was gone, that was just wild to me. I wasn't a heavy metal fan. I was definitely a rock fan. Rock more than pop. I was Def Leppard, Cinderella, Poison, you name it. Ozzy definitely fit into that too in his solo work, and that's how I wound up falling in love with what he did. But from the beginning, there was just something different about him, and he will be sorely missed. And he will also be thoroughly enjoyed for decades and decades and decades to come because he left us some really great stuff. So it's been a hard couple weeks to reconcile the people we thought would always be there no longer being there. Those were definitely some changes in the Gen X community for sure. And I have a feeling some of you are facing other changes right about now, and you've been on my heart as well. I know some of you are sending kids off to college for the first time this fall, and that's right around the corner. That's a hard time. But just know I'm thinking about you, and even though it is so difficult to send them out into the world to do their own thing and make their own way, it's also so exciting to watch it unfold, to see all of your hard work over the years pay off, and to have your relationship with your kids pivot from being in the home all the time. I know I can hear the tears hitting the floor as I say that. I'm sorry, moms. But it is such a cool thing to see them switch from being at home and being your baby at home to being out in the world and making their own way. So I just encourage you, as you encourage them, I know your hearts may be heavy. You're in my thoughts, you're in my prayers, and it's going to be okay, and they're going to do great things. So like I've said, there's been a lot of changes. Gen X Juggler podcast made changes. There's been changes in the world of Gen X as a whole in the past few weeks. And this time of year, end of summer, early fall, brings its own set of changes. Some of them are challenging, some of them are exciting, some of them are a mix of both, but I'm going to be here with you through all of it. I'm so excited for you to meet the guests that are coming on in the coming weeks. Next week, my first guest on season 2 will be Allison Blod. She's an author, a registered nutritional therapist, and an esthetician. She's going to talk to us about menopause, perimenopause, hormonal changes as we enter this phase of life, and how we can avoid some of the most common menopause myths that we're told are always going to happen no matter what. She has a lot of good information to offer, and you don't want to miss it. I'll see you back here next week on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to join me next week for the premiere episode of Season 2 of the Gen X Juggler podcast. Until then, friend, let's keep on juggling.
Take your place. Yeah, I think we should meet in the middle. I follow you 'cause you're the light of the day. I need you like you need me, it's so simple. It's so simple.